Hi, it's Jill Heimiller here with Mike. I don't actually know how to pronounce your last name. DeSimone,
DeSimone.
DeSimone. Okay. And he is an Allstate agent, owner, operator. And we're going to learn about his journey and how he got into the insurance industry, as well as any tips that he has for you guys. So I'm going to start by letting Mike introduce himself and tell us a little about his business, where it's located, and go.
Okay, great. Well, thanks for the invitation, first of all, Joe. It's been really
Sure.
nice getting to know you a little bit as we've learned about our
Yeah,
businesses. Um,
definitely.
so I bought this agency about 3 years ago, and
Hmm.
that was after I had been um, actually recruited for about 14 years by the insurance industry. I guess I fit their
Wow.
mold pretty well. But at the time, I was always in an opportunity that for the family or for my career goals, it was being met where I was at. About 3 years ago, I was working for Capital One, and they decided that the division that I was a regional director in, they were no
Hmm.
longer going to offer, but that I could pivot into
Oh,
a different role with Capital
okay.
One. And so I just felt like it was a good time to evaluate all options, kind of look and consider what I wanted out of, probably the last stop in my career. Um, and so we reopened the book on the recruitment from insurance, and that was one of the options that I considered, and eventually came to the conclusion that the Allstate opportunity for me was the best opportunity and fit what I wanted to accomplish, holistically within my career, but also, as an ongoing concern. So April 1st of 2023, not sure if that was an auspicious day to start or not, but that was the first day of the agency. I purchased an agency that was around a long time,
Okay.
almost 30 years.
Wow.
I'm the fifth agent that has owned it. We're
Wow.
located in Greenwood Village, Colorado, which is basically the Denver Tech Center. But
Okay.
we have clients all over the state of Colorado. Um,
Wow.
and so our team has, grown to about 5 members now, and probably going to add a sixth there soon. Um, and we continue to just define, our standards and our culture and our team. And so that's kind of
That's awesome.
where we're at. Yeah.
What do you, or I guess, what do you specialize in? Do you have a specialty or something that, like, who's your ideal person?
Yeah. Well, I think probably a multi-layered question, right? I think
Yeah.
our ideal client is going to be somebody who is seeking to protect their assets and net worth that they've
Hmm.
accumulated in their life. And so that could be just a car and their possessions as a renter, or all the way up to multi-car, specialty car, toys, as well as homes and, other financial products.
That's
Allstate
awesome.
has such a robust history, and certainly our strongest component is our personal property and casualty lines. But a lot of people don't understand that Allstate also represents life and retirement, commercial insurance, lots of specialty products like jewelry or pet or
Wow.
RVs, that kind of thing.
So you
So
offer pet insurance too? Sorry, I didn't mean to
uh,
interrupt you.
yeah,
I
no,
didn't
pet
know that.
insurance as
Okay.
well.
I always
Attended
thought that was
a
kind
grand
of like a
opening.
separate little niche area.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge for most people is insurance is such a big topic, right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
honestly, I think over time, people have found maybe certain niches in the sales world, car salespeople, insurance salespeople, that it's a
Yeah.
little imposing, right? And so
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who don't realize that there's a whole suite of services in all these various things, in commercial and life and retirement, and then all the specialty things, right? Jewelry, collectibles, specialty cars, um, you know,
Yeah.
e-bikes is a
Yeah.
growing
That's
thing,
crazy.
right? So we can service all or most of those, and then our job is to collaborate with clients to determine if we're the best fit, and if we have what I like to refer to as the three C's: the best coverage for the best cost, with the greatest commitment from the insurer to cover it in the manner that the client would like. And
That's
if we can
awesome.
marry that up, then we're good partners.
Yeah, it sounds like, and obviously we've talked a few times, but it sounds like you guys are very client focused and really trying to work with people where they are and help them get the best solution. So I think that's pretty valuable in and of itself. I know there are a lot of insurance agents and competition, and so I think the more you can stand out by doing that, obviously the better. Um, so you got the business and it's been in business for about 30 years when you bought it. So did you feel like there was a strong following already, or have you had to do lots of, I don't know, like grand reopenings and, trying to get people to come in the door, or what kind of things do you find work or don't work for you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I've been in business operations and business development most of my career. And so, of course, when I came into this opportunity, I had all these grand designs. We were going to do this and this. And laughably, many
Mhm.
of them have not been a good fit. And so, what I thought was just an absolute slam dunk, maybe didn't really resonate. We have almost 2,000 policyholders. And the agency, when I purchased it, was producing at a level that we're now about 8 times as much. So
Wow.
we've grown a pretty significant amount in 2 years,
Yeah.
which I think is not a statement about the old agency as much as just the growth of the industry and the nature
Yeah.
of how many more things are needing insurance and how many more
Sure.
people are shopping it. You know,
Yeah.
we have a pretty high retention rate at about 90% of our clients staying on board, and we work really hard at that.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is a lot of work because there's a lot of options and there's an endless array of advertising and feedback and
Yeah.
reporting and everything for people to really discern about their insurance.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. I think it makes it more competitive, but I think it also really opens the door for us to truly have intentional, present conversations with our clients about what they need.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think, I think people in general probably just assume, like, oh, they sell insurance, they sell insurance. There's different insurance agencies. But I do think that when, you're going through insurance and getting it, I think it's, the more that you can get the word out about what you guys do. And I'm sure you do lots of like PR, social things and meet people all the time. So, and it sounds like with your high retention, you must be doing something right. So I think that speaks volumes too. And I was going to ask you, just kind of for our audience, is there anything, whether it was with Allstate or other careers, that you felt like you really struggled with, like something that was really a barrier for you? And it could be just that, in wanting to kind of have your own business, but not being ready and, having the full-time job was like safe and then you had that opportunity, or it could be something totally different.
wow, that is a really great question because it touches so many things. I think first and foremost, you have to be genuine. Genuine about yourself, genuine about your cares and concerns. Because I think if you pursue roles or companies and it's not truly genuinely tied to what's important to you in life,
Yeah.
you're going to struggle, right? Because it's just
Yeah.
not who you are. Um, and I think there are so many opportunities in today's world as an entrepreneur, but then even within your organization of how you can craft it and build it and develop it. That um, it's not like when I started my career a gazillion years ago, where it was kind of just step one, two, and three. I mean, now you really do have to discern amongst just so many options. And I think you have to be a little bit more resilient because I think you have to understand, given thousands of choices that you make every day in the direction that you're taking your agency, there are going to be times you don't miss the mark. And you have to be strong enough, I think, in your sense of purpose and in your team that that doesn't derail you. And you realize that's just a natural outcome of constantly trying to improve and grow and push yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's been easier for me to understand as I've progressed in my career. You know,
Yeah.
when you begin your
Definitely.
career, I think you have to be perfect and you have to have all the answers. And, I tell young people that I mentor all the time that the one thing I wish I had done was accept and seek out mentorship at a younger age and not feel like
Yeah.
I had to have all the answers. And
Yeah.
I think that's a good lesson, even for a dinosaur like me, that, there are always
No. Yeah.
resources you can use, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. I love that. I think that's one thing that I try to get across to people too is just sort of that, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like just start it, do it, and then, learn from other people, take it all in. Because I think you're right, especially now, it's like, everyone is becoming so good at like certain things and it feels like, oh yeah, fake it, you gotta fake it till you make it, right?
right.
um but most people feel like they have to have all the answers, and so that's kind of, I'm the other way. I'm like, yeah, fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And learn and figure it out. And I think that's really, I think those are good qualities in people and in professionals, is someone who's like, well, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. That's the kind of person that I enjoy working with too. So I think that's great. And it sounds like, so your team's growing, which is a good sign. And how about, do you have a vision for where you want to take your company or business? Like, do you want it to be like a, 10-person business or 10-person employee? Sorry, not
Sure.
not clients.
Right.
I don't know. I'm curious.
I, you know, it's interesting that answer has changed a lot this year for me.
Yeah.
I was really fortunate. Allstate afforded me some opportunities, as well as some of my key partners and vendors have
Okay.
afforded me some opportunities to participate in events with other fellow agents who are probably, have owned their agencies longer, started earlier, more experienced, in
Yeah.
some respects, more successful, larger and things. And they've encouraged me to relook at what my original intent was, which was to build a nice
Interesting.
agency, get it to a certain amount of policy. I felt like 10 million was a great number, right?
Yeah.
We're almost approaching six at this point. And, I was talking to so many people, and I don't want to leave names out, but I was talking to a couple people who were really helpful. And one of them looked at me and said, why 10? Why are you putting a ceiling on yourself? Why not 20? Why not 30? Why not 50? And I think it was a seminal moment for me to understand, yeah, I don't need to think of the highest branch of the tree. What I have to
Yeah.
think about is, how do I grow this tree and keep it healthy and sustain? And then it will naturally take the course of action to get where it needs to get to.
Yes.
And so that was a remarkable change, because when you first buy an insurance agency, I think you're drinking from a fire hose. You're learning a
Yeah.
lot. I kind of
Yeah.
joke sometimes it feels like an escape room, because you get the answers after
I
you've spent
can't.
hours
No.
and hours researching things.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think it's easy to, uh, to maybe hem yourself in, because you're just learning so much and everything.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
think understanding that by building the strongest foundation in culture, it'll naturally do well. And then you just propagate the success from there.
I
So I
love
guess
that.
my vision is, I just want to keep growing it. I
Yeah.
really enjoy it. The connection with individuals, trying to help them in some of their darkest times, and trying
Yeah.
to infuse in them confidence and security when maybe they're,
Yeah.
a little bit nervous about things. I think it's just really meaningful. I just I find it um, incredibly satisfying to be a
That's
part of that
awesome.
journey for them.
I love that. And um I think that's one of the most kind of rewarding things to me in whatever you do. It's like to have that connection, with your client and feel that, or with your work if you don't work with clients, but just to feel that, fulfillment. And I think that's fantastic. And I do have another question for you. So I'm just curious, is there anything, would you say, that you have been surprised at as a owner or a boss of like, I never thought I would enjoy this, or, I used to like that, but now I really don't like doing that anymore. Is there anything that's like shifted for you?
Yeah, no, really good questions, Jill. You know, um, I think what I've found over my career is
Yeah.
there are always certain aspects of what we do that we find not enjoyable, and most of them tend to be the mundane, right? Like the tedious things. I think one of the things I'm discovering as I grow up is you some of the tedium, I think, comes from our own definition, right?
Mhm.
And our own like stick to itiveness that, well, I have to fill this report out. I have to document this information. I have to track this. And I think some of the beauty of discovery is now sitting back and saying, well, why do we do it that way? Is that just because we always did it that way? Or is it really servicing or serving anybody within the organization, clients or employees, to take this much time to handle this? And because
Right.
sometimes I think we build our own paradigms and it's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
no, we have to do this. And then you take a step away and you're like, nobody cares, honestly. Like, it's
Yeah.
not a big factor. And but this happens to be a big factor. So why don't we pivot our effort and time to that, because it's more meaningful. And so I wouldn't say that it's things that I don't per se like. I think it's there are things that I try and evaluate and decide, like, is that really the best use of resources, mine or
Yeah.
the other employees or whatever. Um, and then if it is, and it's still tedious and boring and
Then we'll
mundane,
do it.
yeah, we'll do it, but maybe we'll figure out a way to do it more effectively. And I think that's an
Okay.
interesting use of things like AI and
Yeah,
such, right? Is trying to determine,
definitely.
like writing a newsletter is can be pretty mundane and challenging, right? But now with AI, there's so much feedback and input, and it can really
Yes.
help you streamline that kind of an activity. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
you can
fun.
turn some of that stuff into a less mundane, less boring thing.
I love that. Very awesome. All right. Well, how about I know we're trying to keep it to about 20 minutes, so I want you to be able to give a plug for your business, um, and also, let people know how they can kind of get in touch with you if they're interested in getting any kind of insurance. What the best way is, if they can follow you, if you want to give any of your information, and we can also put it on when we post this to the YouTube channel, we'll put it on there as well.
Fantastic. Thank you again. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, the internet has become such an interesting world, right?
Yes. Yes.
Positively and negatively, and trying to determine how that most effectively can help you within your business is probably, going back to one of your past questions, one of the biggest challenges, right? Um, so we endeavor to all those things, right? We purchase marketing leads, we have websites, we do social media. At the end of the day, I think the greatest thing for our agency is the ability to be a trusted advisor, right? Both to our peers and as well as our clients, as well as our team members. And
Yeah.
so we are always happy to provide evaluation and review for people, whether it leads to
That's great.
policies or not. I was just talking to a client yesterday who feels pretty comfortable and had just renewed with a new carrier. Actually,
Hmm.
they're not a client, they're a caterer. We were
Oh,
talking about how we could use them for our events. And she
cool.
said, well, you have some interesting ideas. Would you mind looking at my policies? And I said, sure, not a problem.
Yeah.
That collaboration, I think, is really meaningful because then people get to know us as an agency.
Yeah.
They can either we're a fit or not. And it gives them the
Hmm.
peace of mind that they've done the proper due diligence to move on for 6 months or a year and
Yeah.
put it to bed. Um,
Yeah.
I think every time you watch a college football game and you see State Farm or Allstate or whomever,
Yeah.
it piques your curiosity of, do I have the best deal?
Yes.
And I do tell people a lot that I think you have to define what that means, because we're so price centric anymore
Yeah.
that we lose sight of whether or not we're truly getting the best advocacy and the best
Hmm.
advice and the best guidance. because we're a little bit too focused on price on all
Yeah.
sides, selling and purchasing.
Yeah.
So I think that collaboration and that consultation is really, really important. So
Definitely.
whether it's by our website, whether it's by looking up agents in Colorado for Allstate, whether it's by my name that is hard for people to
Yeah.
remember sometimes, any of those avenues I think are fantastic. I encourage people to reach out to me directly. While
Yeah.
2,000 clients is a big number of people to stay in touch with, we have a great team here. And the more that I can have input from folks, I can direct them to myself or a team member that is best suited to take care of them and create that, beneficial experience. Um,
Yeah.
so, as you can tell, probably I'm a little nerdy about this. I really love the concept of helping
Yeah.
people with peace of mind. 2025 was a tough year, and a lot of people have a lot of things to be stressed about, right? And
Yeah.
so, taking one thing off that list and allowing them to have peace of mind that I'm at least covered
Yeah.
in this one area, I think is a benefit, an opportunity, and a blessing that we have from our agency. So.
Definitely. Well, thank you, and I hope everyone's enjoyed this podcast. And thank you, Mike. I appreciate it so much, and we'll definitely get his contact information and everything as part of this. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Jillian. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye, guys.